Hello and welcome back to the Pasta Podcast, where we talk about nothing but pasta. Today we will not be talking about pasta. Today we will be talking about our top movies of 2023. I, of course, am a pasta chef. My name is Gigi. And fellow pasta chef, what is your name?
I'm pasta chef Olivia.
How are you doing?
I'm living. I'm here. I'm talking about my favorite movies. So we wanted to start off talking about our favorite movies that came out in 2023, and then we're going to talk about our favorite movies that we watched in 2023. Now, some of those can fall under the same category, so we'll just have to roll with the punches.
Yeah. As usual, we have no script and no rules, so it's going to be a little chaotic. Anyways,
shall we start?
Do you want to start off, or should I start?
How about we go in chronological order of when the movies came out?
We're gonna have to look up what month every movie came out. You realize this, right?
Yeah, maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Well, I mean, I can start us off with a Bollywood movie.
Okay.
So I think the first Bollywood movie I saw in theaters was Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. And I just call it Rocky Aur Rani. But it's basically about this pair who gets together because Rocky's grandfather has dementia, but when he sees a photo of this woman in particular, he remembers her. And so they're like, oh, so if we find this woman, maybe it'll bring his memory back. So, and he's married, mind you, but his wife never liked him. And she was kind of mean to him. And she's incredibly toxic throughout the whole movie, and you hate her. And she kind of brainwashed her son to think that way too. So they kind of just bullied the grandfather. So they find this woman, and it's the grandmother of Ronnie. And so Rocky finds Ronnie, and he's like, we have to get our grandparents together, because I think if they do, then it might bring my grandpa's memory back. And it does to certain degrees. It brings them back to when that certain time period was. They hung out for only a week. And so they get together, and then Rocky and Ronnie get together through them. So they'll sneak the grandparents to hang out, and then they'll hang out in secret. And so diddly daddly, they fall in love, and of course they don't like the families, but Ronnie's like, I can't just move in with you, because that's not how society works anymore. We have to decide who we want to move in with. And so they switch. Rocky lives with Ronnie's family, and Ronnie lives with Rocky's family, and of course they hate each other. They just hate each other, and it's so funny to see the differences in their families and stuff. But I won't spoil the ending, but they do. I mean, it's a Bollywood movie. Of course they get married in the end. Of course everything's happy in the end. But it's a very good movie. I actually watched it 3 times last year. I really liked it. I liked it when I saw it in theater, but after watching it the second time, I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. But then when I watched it the first time, I was like, this is starting to be a comfort film for me. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And it's Ranveer Singh and Aaliyah Bhatt, of course.
I don't have any. I have American films on my list, because
Gigi's got no intake. That's why I spoke so much.
Because I am so white that I have no interesting takes. I do have one non-American thing on the list of things that did come out in 2023. But I think we need to address the elephant in the room, which is the Barbie movie. And I didn't mean to wear my Knuff hoodie for this. I just am, because I was really cold, and then I realized that Barbie was on the list as I was thinking about it. So But yeah, Barbie, I gave that movie a 5 out of 5. I don't care if it's normal or like not a hot take. Not everything has to be a hot take. Not everything has to be an unpopular opinion. You're allowed to have you're allowed to have a conjoined opinion. You're allowed to like things other people like.
Well, and also you're allowed to give things a 5-star rating and like give other things a 5-star rating. Not one thing needs a 5-star rating.
Yeah, which is funny because that's the only 5 star rating that I think. Well, no, there's one other. It was the afterthought. It was a sneaky one that I added. Um, but you'll see why I gave it 5 stars in a little bit.
I gave you a lot of things 5 stars. I gave Rocky Rani 5 stars.
I just remembered something I have to add to the list.
But I mean, I'm sure we all know what Barbie's about. I'm
Yeah, I
sure
don't
we've
think
all
I
seen
really
it.
have to explain it. We all saw it,
No, but
whether we liked it or not.
I do want to add how I think it's like really a crazy in look on women's life because it's not the typical thing to talk about when it comes to women. When it comes to women, you want to talk about like, oh yeah, like they're judged for like they're sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
And in Barbie, that's like yeah, that they touched upon that, but they also like touched upon like women's mental like health. And I think that's really crazy that they like perfectly described how it feels to be a woman or a girl and how it
Yeah,
feels to go through life like that. Like I haven't seen any other movie do that.
yeah, and I think the thing is that so veering off of the actual like content of the Barbie movie, I think the reason that everybody that's normal was so mad that I'm Just Ken was the song that they chose to nominate and win for the Barbie movie, um, is because it completely like you can see in Ryan Gosling's reaction, like it wasn't just about the meme. He was genuinely confused because it was like people didn't understand what the point. It's a satirical song. It's not supposed to be uplifting to men or anything like that. It's it's literally saying I am nothing because I'm a doll. I don't know if you know this, but Ken is a doll. He's not a man. He's
Well,
not
and it's
real. He does not have all of the genitals as he claimed.
well, and I think a big thing with Ken's character is that I mean, of course, Barbie's all about like the roles are reversed, but and also another thing is that I feel like that with the "I'm Just Ken" song, yeah, it's supposed to be a satirical song, but also Ken's character, he's just supposed to be like, I mean, yeah, he's a side character. He's also supposed to be like, I think a lot of like men's ego and how like sometimes, sorry, choking on an almond. But so like men have a hard time with their ego and it's really like you never see it dramatized. You always see it like as oh like it's like American Psycho and um like different kinds of movies where you see men and their ego. It's portrayed as like a cool thing or it's portrayed as like an alpha male type of situation. But when you saw it on Ken, it looked ridiculous. And that's
Yeah.
how we view it. That's how we see men is, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
I think you actually have like a great example of that, which is like that people still like hold up Patrick Bateman's character as like the peak of male, and it's like okay, first off, he's a serial killer. Whether it was like a dream or not, I'm not getting into that. Um, but like he had these dark fantasies in his head, and at very least in his head, he played them out fully. And the whole point of that movie, which was directed and written, I don't know if it was written by women, but it was directed by women, is that it's not supposed to be an uplifting thing for men. It's supposed to be like, hey, you need to get this anger under control because this
Yeah.
is what happens when you just try to fit in with the crowd. it has a lot of like good points. And that's also the thing that like Barbie tried to do. It tried to be like, like it's fine to be a man. Nobody's being mad at you for being a man, but your ego is so fragile and you need to take care of that.
Yeah, and I think it's also like how a lot of men are raised. Like you gotta like it's like a stereotype that you need to have like this sort of like ego to go on through life, that you need to have this way about you, but that's totally not true at all. And I've met plenty of men who don't think like that, and they're perfectly nice people.
Yeah.
And when you like see men like that, you just think, well, they're just jerks that can't handle themselves. But they need to see themselves, because these men can't see themselves. They can't think of themselves as like a new perspective. They have to be like I feel like with Barbie, you could look at yourself from a different perspective and be like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
is that what I'm like?
Yeah, there's some kind of like message in it for even like for men that are watching that I feel like at very least at some points you could be like, "Oh my god, is that what I'm like?" or like laugh at yourself a little bit because it's supposed to be like, over dramatized because usually men like that kind of act like that. They don't act that like intense usually. It's just the ones that are on the internet that do that. um, but it's supposed to be over dramatized so that men will get it and they'll see the point. And also because it's film, so if it was just normal people talking, it wouldn't be as interesting. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought the Barbie movie was very good,
Yeah.
and
I think
I
we could
think
do a
that
whole
people,
episode on it.
yeah, I think that people that don't like it are stupid and don't get it.
I think the people that don't like it just yeah, I think they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Um I don't know which one to cover for next. Um, how about Blue Beetle?
Oh, that's next on my list too.
Ooh. Okay. I think honestly, I think Blue Beetle is the best DC movie I've seen in a long time besides the Batman.
I kind of no, you know what? I fully agree. Cuz thinking about it, um and we'll get to Shazam cuz I want to talk about Shazam. But thinking about it, there are like certain things that I think are a little bit off about like the Shazam movies. But I still enjoy it. I still think they're great movies.
Mhm.
But Blue Beetle, I don't have like any notes. There are no notes in my head. I'm just like, this is a good film, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and
And I remember like I remember I think they were okay, so me and Gigi work in a movie theater if that wasn't obvious enough. So we get free movies, which is nice because we don't have to support corporations.
yeah.
Um, but so I think I talked you into seeing it as like it was like an employee showing, I think. I begged our boss to do it, and I was like, "Come on, Gigi, you have to see it with me. You've seen Shazam with me. You'll like this."
Yeah.
And we liked it.
And I was like, I don't know, I like Blue and I liked Shazam. And then I ended up really, really liking it. And I thought it was funny. And we went to go and see it like two more times, like separately. We went to go and watch that movie so many times over,
Oh yeah, we've seen
which
it.
is it's not typical of me because the idea of like buying a ticket to a movie that I actually want to see right now, like just to go watch, is not in my brain right now. But I did do it like twice.
Yeah, well, it's a good movie. You did it for Barbie.
Yeah, I did it for Barbie. I also did it to show my mom Barbie. So I had to do it twice because we went to
um,
see it and then I went to see it with my mom.
but Blue Beetle is just like I mean, I liked Blue Beetle comics a lot before, and so I was kind of like, because like Jaime Reyes is just like a super relatable character because he's just like this guy who like is just this like regular like man, dude, teenager, who's, well, not teenager in this movie, but in the comics, he's a teenager. And he just gets himself in the weirdest situations. And it's just like, it's so funny. And I just remember like reading Blue Beetle comics and just like those were the first comics I read where I was like laughing out loud. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, these are so funny. But it really helps in the movie when you have good characters, when you do a good job with the story, when you cast everything right, when especially when you introduce new characters that aren't stupid.
Yeah. Um, I think that part of the charm of Blue Beetle for me, I mean, like, okay, I'm a white woman. You are a white woman. We're white. But I think part of the charm for me is that this isn't about a white superhero. And I feel like every superhero that you can name off the top of your head, if you're not like a superhero person, is a white character. And like, I mean, unless we're counting Bruce Banner as I don't know if we're counting him as white, maybe he's green, but
He's a little green.
sometimes. Um, but I think it's really like nice to have diversity and also for it to be portrayed like really well because I mean, I thought that like the cultural aspects were like good. It wasn't like too overwhelming like information, but it like helped me understand the culture a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm also taking a class right now about like race and ethnicity and stuff. So I am understanding a little bit more about all that stuff when I have no culture. And all of my culture is adapted from other people's culture because I'm
Well,
white.
you have your own culture. It's just yeah, it's just like
It's
built
just
off of other
burgers.
cultures. That's what culture is.
Burgers.
It's building off of other cultures and making your own.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't
Anyways,
downsell yourself, Gigi.
okay.
It's okay. You're just saying you have interest in other cultures. That's a good
I
thing.
made once, okay?
Gigi,
So I have been cultured.
we can't say that word during the podcast. We've made a deal.
I'm sorry. Okay. I have
She
boiled
said the
water.
forbidden
Hold on,
word.
hold on. I have boiled water and put certain things into it before once. So I'm allowed I'm allowed to say this.
The objects that
Yeah.
soften.
The objects that soften when you put it in boiling water.
Welcome to the Pasta Podcast, everyone.
Anyways, yeah, Blue Beetle, great movie. I
And
think
also,
yes.
I want to add that I think Blue Beetle does a really good job at showing how important your family is. And I mean, not just saying like, "Oh yeah, family's important," jibber jabber. I could watch a Bollywood movie for that, you know. But let me correct myself. I could watch a Karan Johar Bollywood movie for that. Um, but it's like they, it's in so many movies where there's a superhero and he has nothing to do, or he or she or they have nothing to do with their family, and you just you're like, well, aren't you gonna tell your family? Like, okay, that's my biggest problem with Twilight is that she doesn't tell her dad, and that makes me so mad.
She
And I'm like, dude,
doesn't?
no, she never tells her dad. And I'm like, girl, he's like, he's right, he lives with you. And it makes me so upset.
You can
And
see that you're noticeably paler.
but no, they have to go through like this whole thing and like they have to train her to breathe. But that's for another time. Um but I really like how his family's included in it, and they didn't, because usually there's a plot hole where like, oh, the villain discovers the family identity, so then they ruin the family's life, or they don't even like bother ruining the family's life or something like that. And it's like, well, if you're the villain, why wouldn't you ruin the family's life? They try, they don't succeed.
Well,
That's what makes it
well,
so good.
they succeeded in with one person.
With one
um,
person.
and one house. So, lives lost, one house, one person. Anyways, um, but yeah, Blue Beetle, great movie. I did like the family aspect because I felt like it wasn't like this is all about family. It was still an action movie, but they were part of the action, and that was fun. And also, I love his grandma. I love her so much. I want a prequel on her life because it sounds so interesting.
Also, Uncle Rudy.
I also want a hair tutorial. Not that I would be able to do it because my hair isn't straight, but
Uncle Rudy is also the best. Her hair wasn't straight. I'm
yeah.
looking at the poster right now. It's like curly, wavy.
Well, yeah, it's a wavy, but have you seen my hair? Do I
Um,
look like I have thin, wavy hair?
moving on.
um, Next on my list, it did come out in 2023. Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which honorable mention to Shazam because I also watched that movie in 2023. Libby sat me
Yeah.
down. She said, "You're gonna watch the second movie with me, but first you have to see the first one."
Oh my
So
gosh,
she forced me.
that's such like a hidden gem, that movie. It's um like both of them. I liked the second one way better than the first, but also like the first one is still really good. Um you can't downplay though, and I hate to say this, but it's true, that Jack Dylan Grazer stole the show in the second movie. He did so good, and I was like, this kid is like he's like a really good actor, and I never noticed that before.
Yeah, I think that
Also,
it.
Mary.
Yeah,
Mary.
um, but also Rachel Zegler is in it, and I love that woman, and I don't care what anybody says because people pretend that she's controversial because she said that a movie that was controversial compared to when it was made, was controversial. People got mad at her for that, and also for saying something about the SAG AFTRA strike about how people should be paid, but she said I should be paid for every second I'm on here. And people took that out of context and they were like, look at how mean she is. She thinks she should be paid for her work. Anyways, slight rant. Rachel Zegler, I love you. Um,
She's done
and
nothing wrong.
yeah, she's done nothing wrong. Stop trying to stop trying to put words in her mouth.
Yeah,
You can look
she's
it up.
literally. She's also like, I have so much respect for her because she's a Twitter fan turned celebrity.
Yeah. I
And she
followed her
still
before she was
tweets
an
like
actor.
she's like, yeah, and it's just I just love her. Hard to
I
hate her.
followed her
She is so
because
good in that.
I followed her on Twitter because she was very pretty, and I saw a video of her singing in an empty theater, and it was like ringing through. I'm sure you've
Yeah,
seen the video.
yeah, that's like her video that got her the job in West Side Story,
Yeah, and I
which
followed
is
her
nice.
because of that. And I think it was only a couple months after that video was like on Twitter that I followed her. So I was there right at the beginning.
Me too. I followed her right after I saw that too. Back when she was posting about like being in her like high school plays and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, I was at my high school and I sang this song. And then a week later there's like an article that's like Steven Spielberg called her, and I was like, wait, I saw that video.
Anyways, bestie, follow me back. You
Complete the
you
vote.
are you are Drake in my head, but follow back because you ain't.
Follow me back, you ain't Drake.
Anyways,
Okay. You mind if I break down another Bollywood film?
go for it.
Okay. So I think this was actually I put this in my letterbox favorite of all time. So this is one of the movies of all time. Um it is called Jawan. Um from my understanding, Jawan means soldier, but it means young, but it's slang for soldier. Um so it's basically about a soldier. And
Is he
it
young?
no.
Oh.
Oh, he is in certain parts of the film, because it shows him like growing up. But he is basically this sort of like vigilante, and he runs a women's prison, and he's like the warden of the women's prison, and he takes 5 women. He has a team of 5 women from the prison who he goes out and sets all the rights, all the wrongs right in India. So there's a part where he's at the very beginning of the movie and you think he's a bad guy at first. He stops a train and people think he's going to bomb the train because he's got like first of all, he kills, quote unquote, kills somebody on the train, and he calls the like main agriculture people, and he's like, "You got to send this amount of money to this designated bank account, or else I'm blowing up this train, or I'm killing everybody on this train." And he threatens them with that, and then they figure out that he's sending all this money to individual farmers all over Asia who have never had who are in debt, that are gonna like die because they're in debt because they can't afford to pay their loans back or anything, because he has a girl on the team whose father committed suicide because he couldn't pay off a loan. So he basically goes through all he doesn't kill anybody. He like the girl he killed was like wearing a bulletproof vest. Um and so yeah, she just gets up afterward and she's like, "Hi." But basically the whole movie is him righting all these wrongs in India, in Asia in general. And he has all these different disguises. There's one cop who's trying to get him because technically he's, committing a crime by holding these people captive and whatever. He ends up marrying the cop not knowing it was him. And you gotta watch it. It's great. He finds his long lost father. And his father, it's so good.
If
And
this is not the most Bollywood sounding movie I've ever heard, based off this
it's
description.
so good. It's just like incredible music, incredible acting. It's actually inspired by South Indian films, and it's directed by a guy who doesn't speak Hindi. And so I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, so wait, how did they talk? Because Shah Rukh Khan can't speak like Tamil. And so they were just like, I think they just spoke in English. And I was like, you walk onto a Bollywood set and you just see them all speaking English. But
You expect not to understand a word they're saying, but they're speaking perfect English.
but no, it's really good. It's really female empowering actually, because he's like he runs the jail, or he runs this prison, whatever, that his mom died at, and his mom raised him in that jail. And so he's kind of attached, and all the women in that jail are wrongfully in jail, or like they've been accused of something, or they did something in self-defense, sort of thing. Like they've all been like wrongfully accused to be in that jail. So he's just trying to like help them. And it's just really nice. It's really he there's a scene in it where he's trying to take down this one guy, and this guy has like all these SWAT men with him, and he's like, "I'll have my men will be after you," and he's like, "You may have your men, but this jail is ran by my women." And so he presses a button and all the women come and jump him. It's great. I love it. Anyways,
Wow.
that's Jawan. I recommend watching it. Shah Rukh Khan plays 2 parts in it, completely different parts. Um, he plays his father,
About my
and
father.
he is so like you don't even know. Like I watched that whole movie and I was like, this is not 2 different guys, or this is 2 different guys. I was like, this is not Shah Rukh Khan who's playing this. This is somebody else. Um, but yeah, that's Jawan. I feel like I've been talking
Wow.
for very long. I need to, Gigi, you speak
I
a little
don't
bit.
I don't think you've been talking for that long. It's not going to be as long as some of the things I put on here. Um so the next one on my list is Five Nights at Freddy's, which I don't think we should talk about a lot because we have talked about Five Nights at Freddy's multiple times on multiple occasions. But I don't think we've talked about the movie yet. So we could discuss the movie. That That is not. That's the Ender Dragon. That this is not Minecraft. This is the wrong video game.
I don't have Freddy up here. You'll just have to imagine him. But he's
Okay.
new, isn't he cute?
I mean, he is cute. I just
I don't
don't
know
know
what
why
to
you're
name him.
showing it.
Barfy.
I think that there's a theory on what the Ender Dragon's name is, but I forget what it's
It's
supposed to
Barfy,
be.
confirmed by me.
No, no, no.
Barfi. Barfy.
No, that's not confirmed. Just
Barfi is a
because you
sweet treat in India, Gigi. It's a
just because
candy.
just because you say confirmed by me doesn't mean that it's confirmed. Okay.
Anyways,
Anyways,
talk about
so
Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy's. The movie is a little bit different than the games, but it's basically the same story. Possessed animatronics. In the movie, they don't start attacking anybody because they want to like have their souls. You know, they want their souls back. So they're like, "Can you help with this?" Without saying words because they're animatronics. But they're basically like, "Hey, can you help with this?" And then they're like, "Yes, we can." And they help a little bit too late because they become possessed, and not by the spirits, but by the person that actually killed them. And he's like, "Hey, you guys should kill the people that are helping you." Actually, um, which I don't know why they listened to that, but anyways, they also build a fort with the animatronics. That was a great scene. Love that scene. That is my
Seriously.
magnum opus. It's the pinnacle of all scenes ever. Um, and then at the end of the movie, when they're like possessed by the guy that killed them and being told to murder, the little girl's like, "No, he's the one that killed you." And then they go to murder him instead. And it is epic. And it's a little bit different than the actual story. But we get a happy ending, and that's better. Because in the actual story, they don't get a happy ending ever. Not a
I
canon one.
always come back.
Oh, shut up. Shut up, Willie A.
Just be lucky I didn't do it in a British accent.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't. That's another thing. They took the creative liberty of making Willie A American, even though he's canonically British. So I don't know
he's
why they did that.
he's canonically British, but
Although, could you imagine having Josh Hutcherson do an English accent for Five Nights at Freddy's?
Gigi, I think it's so funny that the movie that put Josh Hutcherson back on the map was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm like, good for him, but that's so silly.
What are your top two movies that everybody knows you for? Hunger
Hunger
Games? Uh
Games
huh.
and
And
Five
Five
Nights.
Nights at Freddy's. What? Anyways, but yeah, very very good movie. I highly recommend if you liked the video games. It's not gonna make sense if you didn't play the video games or watch somebody play them. If you don't know the story, you're probably not gonna like it. It's not like I wouldn't tell a horror fan to watch it just because they're a horror fan. That
Yeah,
I would tell them to watch it if they've played the game or something.
yeah,
Um, it's got a very specific audience, but it's a big audience. So
yeah. Well, I do think it paid homage to the game really well. I think you're right. I think if you don't play the games, then you might have no clue what's going on. But hey,
yeah.
who knows? You might still love it. I wouldn't know. But
The way
I
that you're
I
saying
did
this,
like.
you sound like you're being held at gunpoint. I don't know why.
No, I was trying to undo. Anyways, um, I don't like horror movies. I really don't. I don't like gore. I don't like bloody stuff. I get disturbed very easily. And I liked Freddy's. I liked Five Nights at Freddy's. I thought it was really good. I there was some parts that Gigi had to tell me, quick cover your eyes and I'll tell you when to open them again. Um yes, it was that one scene with the babysitter. I still think about that sometimes because as soon as I thought it was clear, I opened my eyes and it wasn't. um,
Then I
but it's
looked at you
fine.
and I went, "No."
I've gotten over myself. It's fine. The biggest problem with the movie is that Markiplier isn't in it, but that's also Markiplier's fault. So
But to be fair, they wanted him to be the security guard in the like intro that we never talk about ever again, by the way, that gets
oh,
killed.
yeah.
Markiplier could never. He's the king of FNAF. He would never die. He knows what to do. The scene would
Yeah,
have been changed to him running around the room going, I need to close this door. I need to close this door.
but could you
Are you
imagine
gone? Are you gone?
his
Go away.
face with his Barney eyes looking at that? That'd be so funny.
Barney eyes.
He's got the same eyes as Barney.
No, he doesn't.
You gotta Google Barney eyes, then you gotta
No,
Google
no, I'm
Markiplier.
not doing
What
that.
does he's
I'm
got the
not doing that.
glasses on? You can't see when he takes them off.
Olivia,
No, but
in
wait,
his
we gotta
classic
talk about the
video.
best part of that movie, other than the fort scene,
What?
which is, but that's just a theory.
I hated Matt Pat after that. I'm gonna be honest. That scene made me hate Matt Pat.
It made
Um,
him retire.
yeah. Um, R.I.P. Matt Pat. You would have loved the FNAF movie too.
Thank you,
Um,
Matthew Patthew.
thank you, Matthew Pathy, for your years of service. Um, but anyways, I did not like that scene actually. I think I Olivia can attest to this. I think that my exact reaction to that when it happened in the theater was shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was. I think it was also a groan. I think it was. I
It's because
laughed.
I've heard it too many times. I have
I laughed.
PTSD.
I thought it was really funny. Um, I was just excited. I was like, "What?" But
I think you laughed and you went Gigi.
I did, and Gigi was just so like, ah.
I did not enjoy it. I have
But
PTSD
anyways,
from hearing those words. Can you blame me? Yeah. Anyways, that's just a theory. Moving on to the next one.
um, I did kind of want to bring up a movie that you haven't seen that is a very popular movie. Um, and that movie is you have to watch it too, by the way. Um, not right now though, but
I paused the
it,
pasta podcast.
it's actually a Marvel film. And take this with a grain of salt because I do not watch Marvel films. I am purely a DC fan. I am loyal to them. I try not to watch Marvel films except for the really good ones, which are the Into the Spider-Verse movies. And I really liked Across the Spider-Verse. I That was like one of my favorite movies of the year. It's like one of those movies that goes by so fast that you're like, "Wait, that was 2 hours? That's done?" Um it's also like I'm not going to explain it cuz I feel like whoever's viewing it um are our fans, the pasta fam might know what it's about.
Our
But just
fans,
for
my
Gigi's
father.
head, but just for Gigi's head, I'll explain a little bit. So it's basically animated Spider-Man meets many animated Spider-Man, Spider Women, Spider Pigs, Spider Cats, lots of Spider people and things, and it's it's really like aesthetically pleasing to watch. Like it's just like the animation is so good, and it's not so good in a way of like it's Disney good of like it's just it looks like clear, you know? It's like yeah, it looks clear and it looks nice, but it's kind of boring. But with Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, it's just so cool to watch. It's just like somebody just like chose like a bunch like a color wheel. They just picked out a bunch of colors and they just made it every single clip. It's just so cool. It's so colorful, and I think a lot of movies aren't colorful like that anymore unless they're in India. Then yeah,
Yeah.
but
I have a little theory that I just came up with. So it's not a well fleshed out theory, let me tell you. Um, but I think that perhaps the reason that you like the colorful style, because I've seen like clips of Across the Spider Verse and all of those movies, because it's very popular. So they come up on YouTube Shorts and I watch them, even though I've never seen those movies. Um, I think the reason you like all the colors is because we watched Scott Christian Sabbath who
I think I
uses a
liked
lot
them
of colors
before
for
that
skin.
though.
Yeah, but I feel like that's
It
kind of like your
definitely
thing.
helped.
That's what appeals.
No, I just like I mean, yeah, that's definitely a case. Um, but I also just like colorful things in general. I think it's like a pretty normal thing. I like impressionists. That might be it. I like Monet and Van Gogh and they're like always so vivid. So I just like color.
I think that needs to be studied, given the fact you're straight.
I think it's very normal for a person my age.
Well, um, but yeah. Anyways, um,
Yeah, the Spider-Verse movies are really good. Um, Miles Morales is like he's such like an enjoyable character and it's just so like refreshing to see a teenager that actually is a teenager and not like I mean he looks like a teenager too. Like I'm sure you've seen pictures of him. He looks like a teenager. He's not this Noah Centineo crap where they just like pick a random man and they're like here you go. And I mean albeit it's a cartoon.
I can't
But
believe you named that man in the Pasta Podcast episode.
um but I just I think he's like one of my favorite Spider man guys right now.
Crazy. Um,
Anyways, moving on.
oh, okay. So the next one I have is actually the last one of the actual 2023 movies that I wrote down that you've seen. Super Mario Bros. Now, I will say, I do not appreciate Chris Pratt being in this movie. I think it's stupid, but I'm also gonna say I don't think he did a bad accent. I'm gonna be honest. I think he had good training in order to get him to that point. I think people were just clowning him too hard, and it lowered my expectations. Maybe because like I don't think if I listened to it now, not knowing it was Chris Pratt, I wouldn't be like it's a great accent, but it's an okay accent. It was a good attempt. I feel like.
Yeah.
Um,
Um I think we both know who stole the show though. Jack Black is Bowser. I mean, it's just like perfect. It just matches so well. And I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy is great as Peach. Um,
yeah,
but I mean, and then they had it going with the whole Peaches song, and you knew that was going to blow up because TikTok blows up every musical number you hear
yeah.
nowadays.
I'm
Not anymore.
surprised that one. I'm surprised that one didn't win over.
It
Um,
should.
I'm just Ken.
It
I feel
should.
like it should have. Um, but I did like Peaches.
Um,
It was a catchy song, but also I enjoy Jack Black's music, which is a little disappointing at the time currently, but
yeah,
um, but
but
I did
um,
think he performed well for that role, and I do think like would I cast him again as Bowser? Yeah, there's nobody else I could see as Bowser now. Who
but
else would be able to
also,
play Bowser?
yeah. I don't know if you've ever listened to Jack Black's band Tenacious D, but me and my brother went through a phase of only listening to that music, and it is really good. It's like hard rock. Like it's like I don't want to say it's
Hard
heavy
Rock
metal,
Nick.
but it's like hard. It's like heavy metal, but it's not heavy metal at all. It's like soft heavy metal. Um, it's really
So
good though.
soft metal.
They have a movie called The Pick of Destiny where they have to learn to do penis push-ups, and it's really funny.
Why?
Yeah, you gotta
No,
watch
you
the
know
movie.
what? Don't explain it to me.
Yeah, but
Um,
Super Mario was, I think it was surprisingly well done. I think they pulled off everything really well. I also do not think you can achieve that movie if it's not in animation. I think the only way you can do that movie is animated.
yeah, I think people were also clowning Chris Pratt being in it because they were imagining like his face as Mario, and it's like, well, it's an animated movie. It's not gonna look like Chris Pratt. It's gonna look like Mario. Um, but yeah, I the only criticism I have about it is that it did not include Daisy or
Rosalina!
Rosalina. That's the name that I was thinking about.
I wanted
Um,
Rosalina. Oh, I forgot. Um, another highlight was so when me and Gigi saw this movie, um, we brought I brought my Nintendo Switch and we played Mario Kart before the movie came on. It was so funny.
Which the story is so much funnier when you consider that we worked 5 hours before that. So
We
so
had to bring the Switch with
you
us, yeah.
had brought your Switch to the theater and like had it like with your stuff, and we worked. And then 5 hours later, we took it, all of it, and hauled it all into the. I'm saying all like it's a big thing, but we took it into the theater, and then while
I
they
have
were
one
setting it
there.
up,
No, and
yeah,
it's funny because my case is Mario themed.
yeah, it was all coming
Anyways,
together.
oh yeah, and we had just got off of the Kate and Ken Super Mario lore. So we
Oh
were, and I
yeah.
mean, not that we're not still on that, but we were just really excited for that movie in general, I think. We were just
Yeah.
really looking forward to it. So that does kind of
We
help.
were
I have
like
not seen it.
the
So.
drama. I was fully expecting Kate and Ken like made my brain rot because I was like I know that it makes no sense, but I'm fully expecting Bowser to win Peach's heart in this movie. I'm fully
Oh my god,
expecting it
yeah.
because I know that that's what happens in that movie. I mean, in
Yes.
those
Oh.
shorts. Anyways,
Um anyways, Super Mario is a really good film. I have not seen it since we saw it though.
yeah,
That's
I
one thing.
haven't rewatched it, but to be fair, that's mostly because the only place I see it is on Peacock, so I'm not gonna watch it there. Fuck you,
Is it
Peacock.
not on Max? No, wait, they
I
just
think
put
it
it on
might be on
Netflix.
Max now.
They just put it
Yeah,
on Netflix.
yeah. I still
So
don't know if I would rewatch it. Also,
I
Netflix is
might.
all of the streaming services are doing something wrong.
Not
Like other
Netflix,
than
actually. They're
yeah.
not on the boycott list.
Oh no, but I mean like other than the boycott list. Like they're
Yeah.
my sister said that she has to add my this is off topic, I'm probably going to cut it out, but she has to add my grandpa as another person on her Netflix account, which had never been a problem before, but she has to pay $8 for it. Otherwise, he would have to get his own account and it would be 22.99 a month.
And
So
so
they're
she has to
also
pay an
doing
extra
weird stuff.
$8 a month?
Yeah, so he said he was just going to give her $8 a month and he was going to pay her for like 6 months. Um,
Hmm.
and that she would just, do that. So I don't.
See,
We'll
I would
see if
just
he
say use my
remembers that
account.
tomorrow.
I would just say use my account.
Well, that's what he's doing. They're just like, I don't know how it's an issue, but I think it's something like the password sharing where they're limiting the amount of people that can watch
Hmm.
unless you pay them more money. And it's like that. Like all of the other streaming devices are also doing that. Because Amazon Prime is doing that. They have ads now.
I guess they
And you
do
have to
lose a
pay two
lot of
more
money.
dollars. Yeah. So, anyways, little rant over. But yeah, Super
I have
Mario
to pay
Bros.
extra for my Airs Now subscription to watch Bollywood movies on Prime.
You
Which I think
subscribe
is worth
now.
it.
Um,
I subscribe. You have to subscribe to Amazon Prime first, and then you have to subscribe to Arrows Now. So it's two different subscriptions. Do I think it's worth it? Yeah. With the amount
it's
of
worth it
Bollywood
just
movies
for
we
the
watch,
Shah Rukh Khan movies, Olivia.
with the amount of Bollywood we watch, I think it's a damn good deal. Because we watch so many movies that if we paid for all those individual movies, we'd be racking it up, you
Yeah,
know. But anyways,
yeah,
shall I say my last movie on the list? It's a Bollywood movie.
yeah. You
Okay,
should.
so my last movie on my list is Tiger 3. It's the sequel to Ek the Tiger and Tigers in High, which I believe, not that I don't think we have any fans who speak Hindi, but if we do, please correct me. But I believe that Ek the Tiger means that um, once there was a tiger, and Tigers into High means tiger lives again, and Tiger 3, um, you know,
A
it's the
third
third
time.
movie. Um, and I loved all those movies. I love Salman. I think he's like probably one of my favorite Bollywood actors. He's just so entertaining. And I think those movies are Katrina Kaif's best movies. We don't like her in a lot of stuff. Surprisingly, she's only good. Actually, no. She's only not good in the movie Zero, which I haven't seen, and in the movie I don't like her in the movie Jab Tak Hai Jaan, which might be a controversial statement, but I don't. She's not a good character in that. Her character sucks. Um, but she, it's basically like their end to the story, but and I'm not going to explain it here because you'd have to watch all the other movies. But it's basically Tiger, who is Salman. Tiger is a God, I forget what they're called, but he's an Indian agent, and Katrina Kaif's character Zoya is a Pakistani agent. And typically they would be against each other. And in the first movie, they were actually like spying on each other without knowing it. And they were trying to, and then they have the love story and all that. But
That's a
they
plot of
base
Spy Kids.
yeah,
Not
and
really.
so it's very in the movies. It's very their relationship is very problematic because they're the enemies. Um, but they do have a kid together, and his name is Junior, and he's a very sweet kid. But it's also part of this whole spy universe, which has is Shah Rukh Khan as Pathan. I don't know. And it's also got Hrithik Roshan in War, but Hrithik Roshan is not in this movie. Shah Rukh Khan is. And oh my gosh, when we were sitting in the theaters and we heard his theme song come up, my mom was like losing herself because we did not think Shah Rukh Khan was going to be in that movie. Um, and he makes a damn good entrance too. But it's a really good movie. Is I mean, women being really really tough and scary, men being really tough. They're always scary, so I'm not gonna give them that. But I I don't know. I feel like Tiger 3 was definitely my favorite out of all of them. But I mean, yeah, I probably got nothing more to say on that because I can't think of anything else.
Well, it sounds like a movie. That is certain. Um, I do have two more on the list of top movies 2023. I was only gonna have one more, but then I remembered something that technically isn't a movie, but it's on Letterboxd, so I'm counting it as a movie. Okay. Um, so um, these two you have not seen, and the first one is Doctor Who Church on Ruby Road. And it's specifically the last Christmas special that they did that they actually released on Christmas. Like, literally, after we opened the presents, I was like, hey, Doctor Who shows in 30 minutes. Do you want to watch it? And we watched it. Um, and um, that was that was something we did. Um, and I did not like the first three specials. I'm gonna be honest. I thought they got a little better over time, but I did not like the first one at all. I hated it. And the second one was pretty good. And the third one was kind of okay. um, but this fourth one, this is the one with Shuti Gatwa. And I already like him. He's got a good vibe to him. It's like when the doctor usually regenerates, he usually doesn't really know what's going on, you know? But it feels like we've gotten past that like plot and now the doctor knows who he is. And like they get it, you know? Um and I like that because I'm tired of the doctor being like, I don't know who I am. It's like, stop having a identity crisis. You are over 2,000 years old. Get
Get
over
over
yourself.
yourself.
You and depending on what timeline we're in, you're over 4.5 billion years old. So shut up. But anyways, I liked this special. It's also got Millie Gibson in it, who is the companion for the new season of Doctor Who, and she's very pretty, and I like her. And um, this episode actually had some music in it, um, and it had a song in it, and the song was not good except for their like the Doctor and Ruby's lines. Those were the cuntiest lines I've ever heard written, but the other lines just did not. They just did not hit for me. There's a plot of the goblins want to eat a baby that she has because she lives like within foster parent, so they just got her and they take the baby, so she gets the baby back, and she does a little like dancey dance, and she goes, "You're not eating Lulu Bell," and like a sing song way, and I don't know why, but that is the cuntiest thing I've ever seen. And then they drop down and they escape. But anyways, I'm talking a little bit too much about it. It's not like the best special, and honestly, it's probably on the lower end of all of my Doctor Who Christmas specials I've ever seen. But it's still a good special. Like I still liked it, and I still gave it 5 stars because it's Doctor Who. How much could I hate it? You know?
I mean, when it came out, you were talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't think you. I think, if anything, you liked it more than you thought you did.
Yeah, I really did like it. I just the previous Christmas specials like I would return to more often than these ones. Um, which is not to say that this one's bad, but that you can't compete with the Doctor Who Christmas Carol. I could do a whole pasta podcast episode on that special, which I thought I hated that special. And then last year when the like year before last when I rewatched them for like a little Doctor Who Christmas special rewatch for December of 2022, I found out it was my favorite one and it made me cry. So that's crazy. Anyways, the last one on my list is
Yes.
is technically, if we think about it, a 6 hour long movie because it's got one season, it's got like 6 episodes, and it's Wilderness. And I don't know if you were on Twitter at the time that I was doing my watch list of this.
Guys,
Um,
Gigi would not shut up about this damn thing.
okay, here's the thing: is I did a live tweet while I was watching it,
And
so
I
I
had Gigi's
tweeted every
notifications on.
2 minutes. Hey, you could have muted the thread. Whose fault is that? I said the
It's
day
not
before.
mine because I'm a good friend.
I said the day before, make sure to mute this thread if you guys don't want the notifications for it. And you didn't. So, whose
I'm
fault
a
is
good
it?
friend, though.
Girls supporting girls even when I hate you. um but yeah, speaking of girls supporting girls even when I hate you, I do not hate Liv Taylor. Liv Taylor accidentally murdered somebody. She wanted to murder her husband, but she accidentally murdered his lover, who she thought was her husband. It was an accident, and she wasn't dead at first, and then she was pronounced dead, so it was kind of awkward. Um, and I also took my Be Real on time that day while I was watching it, and I took it right before the moment that she finds out that she actually might have killed that girl. And I captioned it, "Guys, all hell broke loose after this." I posted this because it did. Because right after that, she like looks up in realization as her like husband's asking for his jacket that he gave to his lover, being like, "Hey, if you guys find that, can you let me know? Can you contact me?" And then she's like, "Oh, she was wearing that in the dream that I had. Maybe it wasn't a dream." Anyways, so she has to go through like the highs and lows of like having accidentally murdered somebody, and then eventually she pins him for the murder, even though it was her fault. But she pins him for the murder, and she like in the last episode, she confronts him, and like in jail, and he's like, "Why did you do it?" And then she said, "Because I thought it was you." And it was like, and I knew she was gonna say it, but it was the cunty. It was the second cuntiest thing I've ever heard in my life, and it was extremely satisfying. Also, she has a best friend in that show, and then they get together, and it becomes a lesbian relationship, and it is probably one of my favorite lesbian relationships I've ever seen on screen. And that's mostly because I don't watch a lot of shows that have lesbians in them. I don't know why. It's not my fault. They just don't make a lot of them.
You have never seen have you ever watched Booksmart?
No.
I mean, that's not really lesbian relationships, but it's a damn good movie. You should watch it because
I feel
every
like
time
you've
I watch that movie, I
suggested
picture us.
I feel like you've suggested the fact that you went from lesbian, it's not really lesbian, I picture us when I watch it. Um, but I think you've told me to watch that movie more than once, and I think the last time you told me to watch it was on the Pasta podcast, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's just a sign. You just gotta watch it. I think it's on Netflix.
yeah, probably. Um, but yeah, I liked Wilderness a lot. I gave it 5 stars, but to be fair, if I didn't like it, I would have given it 5 stars because Jenna Coleman's in it. And also Jenna Coleman is like allergic to playing straight roles because every role I've ever seen her in, she is bisexual or queer in some way. So I'm not saying that she's gay, but I'm just saying that she is allergic to playing straight roles. Like in
I've
Doctor
only
Who, she
seen
talks about kissing Jane Austen. Like like they didn't have to add it, but they did.
I I feel like I don't in Bollywood. There's not that many queer movies. Um, it's just I don't know. It's there just isn't. But I have seen Shah Rukh Khan play this one role where the whole subplot was that the grandma thought him and his friend were together, but he just never said no. So they would just like, um, they would have gay moments. So I'd play that is my headcanon, very bisexual Shah Rukh Khan role.
You
um,
gotta start somewhere. To
you
be fair,
gotta
she's
well,
not Jenna Coleman's not canonically gay in her new movie Jackdaw, but I'm canoning her as gay.
it's
Uh
so easy to
and
headcanon fictional characters.
so is all the other Genninators. So who's in the wrong here? Us or the writers for not making her canonically gay? I think it's the
Um,
writers. The people with more money.
well, I do want to. Oh, no. I was like, wait, when did we see Don't Worry, Darling? But we saw that in 2022, didn't we?
Yeah, I double checked that one
Mm.
because I was
Um,
like, it is a notable movie we've never talked about.
mhm. We could talk about the Eras Tour movie. We
Yeah,
did watch that. That is, it's, yeah, it's what you'd expect.
yeah, it's a Eras tour. Just like in movie form, it's a little bit shorter. Not that much, but a little bit shorter.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, before we log off, because we actually filling up the whole time here, but I think we should name one movie we've cried in, one movie that we've laughed the most at, and one movie and then just our top movie of the year. It didn't have to come out this year, or it didn't have to come out 2023.
okay. Um, I I cried watching Barbie. I mean, I didn't cry in any of the other ones that I have on this list, and I don't think that there's another movie that I watched in 2023 that I cried watching. Maybe, um, but it was a like nice cry. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is upsetting cry.
Mm.
But which I've never experienced that before. So thank you, Barbie movie. I've only ever had sad tears before. Um, but yeah, I cried in that movie. What was your cry movie?
My cry movie. Um, if we're discussing movies that came out that year, I think I cried in Blue Beetle. Honestly, um, the whole part with his dad. Yeah. Um, and yeah, I cried in Barbie a few times. So, and I mean, I cry in every Bollywood movie, so I can't really say that. Um, but in Jawan, there is a part where Deepika, who plays like it's gonna sound awkward without context, but she plays his wife slash mother, And
Okay.
but it's not weird in the movie. Believe me, it makes sense. Um,
Okay.
he plays two different characters, but there's a part where she gets hung, and that's really hard for me to watch. Um, but yeah, I would say number one was probably Blue Beetle or and or Barbie. I cried like 3 times at
Yeah.
Barbie.
I the one that I left, I dropped one of my rings because I was playing with it. Um, the one that I had laughed, I think the hardest in was Blue Beetle, because I would say Shazam: Fury of the Gods, but I did actually cry a little bit at the end of that one. If you know, you know. Not like cry, but like I got teary eyed. You know, I had to wipe some tears. I had to wipe some wetness from my eyelids. So, um, but yeah, it's a very funny movie. I feel like Blue Beetle is because
Rudy
it's
kind
just
of
got some. Yeah, Rudy is really the main root of it, but also the grandma. Because I know that you're not really supposed to laugh when somebody shoots people, but I think it's funny when the grandma does. Because she giggles while she maniacally laughs, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is a grandma," and it's funny. Um,
she is really funny.
what's your giggly movie of the year?
My giggly movie. Um, I did actually. Um, the Spider Verse movies are very funny, and that's like why I watch them because they're just so like the timing of the jokes is just like perfect. They're so funny. But I have to say, Rocky and Ronnie is hilarious. It's it's also like it's just so funny in general. Like the way Ron Veer talks in it is enough. It's just like he calls like, and I don't know if it's because in the movie he's supposed to have poor English or if this is like something you call somebody, but he's got like a friend that walks around with him and he always calls him his professional cum trainer. And it's just pure
That must
comedy.
mean something else.
We
Must mean
gotta watch this movie. It's so good. It's so funny. But yeah,
I don't know if I want to now.
what was your favorite movie of 2023 that came out in 2023?
My favorite movie
You
that came
can't
out
say
in
Barbie
2020.
because that's a given.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Barbie because that one's like I mean, yeah. Um I mean, honestly, I do think that Blue Beetle might be my favorite cuz like I feel bad to Shazam: Fury of the Gods cuz I've rewatched Shazam: Fury of the Gods more often than I have Blue Beetle. But Blue Beetle is just like an overall like funny one, you know? There's not too many emotional moments that like take you out of the hilarity of it, but like except for like maybe at the end, but even then they pull you back at the real ending, you know?
But that's the thing.
they have the climax ending and then they have the funny ending.
But that's the thing is that it's so well done that they can have all those different parts in it. They can make it be funny and they can make it be dramatic when it needs to be.
Yeah. I feel
And
like
that's what makes a good
Shazam Fury and
movie.
the Gods didn't have a big enough funny ending for me. It just had the pain um of thinking that spoilers, but thinking that Billy was dead. And then him actually being dead and being like, wait, he is dead. And then just for some reason having him resurrect. I don't remember what the reason was. Um, and then, which I didn't really think was like bullshit or anything. I thought that at the time I remember being like, I guess that makes sense, but I just don't remember right now why he did
Yeah.
resurrect. Um, but then,
On
you
the
know,
way
they had
they didn't have to kill him in the first place, I don't think. I think he could have survived what he went through.
I feel like what they could have done was
Shazam.
like they could have just like not found his body for a couple days and then he have him be like a missing person and then he could have come back with like I don't know Wonder Woman or something and been like, "Hey guys, I have to ride."
DC loves doing this thing of putting Wonder Woman cameos in, because she can't get a damn job. And no other, they don't have to have any other DC cameos except except for that one Henry Cavill cameo at the end of Black Adam, which led to nothing.
Well, we
But
also had the stand-in Superman cameo at the end of the first Shazam movie, but I don't know if that was
mm,
it was
yeah,
just a body, so it could have just been a stunt double.
I did see. I saw something one time that was like, "There's been enough Superman cameos that we can build the person," and because Black Adam had above his head, and then Shazam had his chest, and then the Flash had his feet.
Yeah.
We just need his
Um,
legs.
do you think that Wonder Woman's actor just like she walks from set to set,
In the
camoing in
costume,
different
yes. He's got no
yeah,
life,
in the
Judy. She's
costume.
got no other
She's just
job.
like, "Hey guys, can I cameo in this movie?" And they're like, "This is an emotional movie about a woman in the hospital. This is not a DC movie." And then she's like, "Okay." And then she walks to the next set and she's like, "Hey guys, can I cameo in the movie?"
um, but yeah, Shazam is good. Yeah, Blue Beetle is better. Sorry, Shazam.
Yeah.
Um, just how it is. My favorite movie of the year was Joanne. I think we already stated that. So I won't go off more about that. Except Shah Khan is a god. Continues to surprise me
Fury of
every
the
day.
God.
Fury of the god. Gigi, if I go up there one day, to the pearly gates, I expect to see him.
But what if you die before he dies? You haven't considered this.
No, he's an angel, Gigi. He'll be up back and forth.
He goes back and forth.
Anyways,
You're like, you think that Shah Rukh Khan is gonna die?
no. Literally look at him. He's got the face of a young man and he's 58.
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't say
Um
young, but
Young.
like 35, 40.
35, 40. Yeah, I'd say that too. Um so shall we wrap it up?
I think so. You want to take us out?
All right. Thank you for being fellow pasta lovers, pasta fam. We had a very good time with you tonight, and we love you, and we miss you, and we hope you have a very good night, and we hope you eat a lot of good pasta. What do you say, Gigi?
Good night and good luck.